Alright, I'm gonna color some mulch today. Show you guys how we do it. A lot of people will tell you not to sit right in front of these, which is more important on primary grind, first grind, whatever you want to call it. Got Joe down over there. I don't know if you guys can see that orange cone back by the lake. Got a 3-inch pump back there. Pumps water up here to this trailer. And we've got a whole dye plant system in there. Sucks dye out of those totes. And we got water from the lake, and I don't know if you can see those hoses on the ground. They run up to spray bars on the discharge belt. I'm pretty much ready, Joe.
Hold on momentarily.
It's 8:57. Supposed to be here at 7. I guess. I mean, nobody said be here at 7, but that's what time everybody else got here. But it's Saturday. So I'm not in quite as big a hurry as normal to get to work. Didn't even really want to come to work today, but my dad up here in the other track out said, "Come on, Cody. It would be totally awesome if you come in and color today so I can run the tub grinder and we can get it done." I said, "Okay, Dad, I'll come in." I don't know. I ran one more bar 3800s plus, well, not a lot, but quite a bit smaller than this one. I don't know what this one is. It's big. Can't remember the number. 1,050 horsepower, just like the tub grinder. So it's a big one, this one. I ran 3800 for a year. Just primary and regrind, and then they colored with another dye plant.
Go ahead when you're ready, Cody.
Alright, hang on. I'll try not to hit the yoke wheel. Not quite sitting straight with this thing, and the bucket barely fits. Alright, you can turn the water on. You can turn the water on, Joe.
What's that?
Here's a little reason we put the spray bars on here and are just coloring with the grinder in general is because I'm dumping 2 yards in here at a time, and it's almost as fast as the excavator will feed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could go faster than it still, but it makes a lot of material. I mean, it'll color 1,000 yards a day, 1,200 yards a day. And the little dye plant that you feed with the loader definitely will not do that. It is more of a hassle, I think, doing it with the grinder. Man, I am not sitting very stable here. Also, the reason I'm sitting in the front like this instead of just sitting on the side and dumping it in there is because when you load the mill too much and it reverses or stops, if the feed just stops for a moment, it's getting too much of a load on it, it'll stop on its own. For anybody who hasn't run one of these, it'll stop until the mill catches back up and the RPMs pick back up. Well, when that happens, the mulch quits running off the belt for a second, and you've got water just spraying everywhere. So I sit here in the end of it like this, strike it off flat, and it'll feed steadily all day like this until the fan reverses. It's got an automatic fan reversal to blow the radiator screen off, and it stops for a second when it does that, but that happens pretty rarely. I don't even notice it every time. Although when it warms up outside, it's April 2nd today, and it was like 28 degrees last night here. Just won't make up its mind. We had 70-degree days in March. Also, just like any dye plant really, but with this thing, sorry, I'm trying not to dig a driveway here, parking lot, grindings. We do have concrete under here where I'm sitting, but kind of right on the edge of it. I don't know if anybody else colors like I'm sure somebody has set up spray bars, but a lot of people don't. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. I'll have to check on the footage, but you can see some like non-colored wood or like white wood coming off of the belt sometimes, and a lot of guys can't handle that. They see that white wood and they think it's not coloring good enough. But when it falls in the pile, as you load it out, you hardly ever find any pieces of white wood, except for maybe on the outside. On the outside of the pile if the rain washes it off. dye plant. It looks just fine. We're doing spray bars. I think we've got 3 spray bars on there. We've got one that shoots underneath the mulch as it comes off the belly belt and onto the discharge belt. Sprays the bottom of it. And we've got 2 that spray the top of it as it runs up the discharge belt. Which, for anybody who hasn't run one of these, the belly belt is underneath the mill right there. And it goes underneath the machine and runs to that one that you guys can see up in the air. That's the discharge belt. Which we also have slowed down right now so that it doesn't. I don't know if you guys can see that chute that we have. We made out of conveyor belts and matting, rubber matting, because we're in a windy area up here and it can be a hassle. I mean, put the conveyor right over the long stacker, and some of the days we get down here, it won't be anywhere near going in. Though, I mean, the wind will blow the mulch like 6 feet away onto the ground. It's ridiculous. Today is not bad. As you can see by the steam, it's not blowing that hard. And I guess for anybody who doesn't know, we get to steam, I mean, pretty much all organic piles of material will steam like this. Dirt, I mean, dirt doesn't do it too bad. Really, dirt cools down pretty quick actually, but leaf, wood, compost, it'll get hot. I mean, if you were to leave it, it would catch on fire. It'll combust on its own, given enough time. See the steam on this stuff. It's a cold morning, but this material that I'm feeding right now is only, I don't know, 4 days old, 5 days old at the most, since we ran through the top grinder over there. It's already building heat. One thing I figured out though, that I'm pretty sure is true, accurate, correct, whatever you want to say, is that like this material, this came out of a 6-inch screen on the tub grinder, which is a lot finer than a 6-inch screen on the horizontal for some reason. I don't know why, but this material is pretty fine. And I think the finer the material, the less likely it is to burn, because we've got a low speed grinder, or Comtech Frambo 6000, and I forget exactly, I think it had like a 12-inch by 9-inch screens in it at first, and then we dropped it to like 10-inch by 4-inch or something. But even with that, even with the slightly smaller screens, which are still pretty big, it was like throwing out firewood sized pieces almost, just like a little bit smaller than firewood. It was dumping out, and I think the air can travel through the pile. It still gets hot, but I think there's big enough gaps between the pieces that air can get in, and that's what lets it light on fire. Because we've never had, well, not since I've been here, we've never had issues with fire like we have with those, with the wood fiber out of the Comtech, the big pieces. Like this stuff, it gets hot for sure, but not like those bigger pieces. I think it's because this stuff is packed more tightly together because there's so much fine material in it that the air can't get in. So I think it'll get hot, but I think it's harder for it to combust because there's no oxygen. It will still burn, don't get me wrong, but it can sit for a lot longer than the bigger material. Like that leaf pile that's over there. Well, that's the fresh leaf up there. I don't know if you guys can see it. You probably can. That stuff gets hot too, but I've never seen it burn. You guys could see on the video where I was loading a walking floor with the ground leaf. That pile is old. It was here since last summer, last fall. It gets, you know, it's warm, but it never burns. Never burns. Just like at the yard that I usually work at, we have a big pile of horse manure that we screen and sell. That's like I don't even know how big it is, 6,000 or 7,000 yards. It's not huge compared to these piles down here, but it never burns either. And we don't go through it every year, so the bottom of the pile has been there for a couple of years now, and never any issues with that burning. I also need to figure out the GoPro. It's separating the videos on its own into 11-minute and 47-second increments. So at first it was confusing me a little bit because I was like, I swear I was talking at this camera for like 40 minutes at a time. But as I went through the footage, I realized it was just, I don't know, it just pauses and picks right back up with a new video. Or a new clip, or whatever you call it. I'll figure it out. Besides the knowledge that old geezer up there has given me, I'm pretty much self-taught on everything else. So, pretty sure I can figure out the GoPro. Although there could be a problem with it because, well, you guys will see. There's some like weird footage on it. I was watching one of the videos and it was raining, and the windshield wiper on the excavator, like every other time it moved, the video like jittered for a second, and I was like, okay, it's got to be some kind of setting, and the windshield wiper is making it jitter. That's what I thought. And but then I watched a few other videos and it was not raining and the wiper was not going, and it's doing it there too. So, and I haven't dropped it or anything. Gotta figure that out. Too much to do, not enough time to do it. You know how it goes. Not enough hours in the day. anybody wants to know anything about me, I do not like long walks on the beach because I always get sand in my boots. And I work a lot. That's pretty much it. Also a good God-fearing Christian. Pretty much the only one in my family there. My dad gives me a hard time about it all the time. But I'll win him over someday. Maybe. Hopefully. Watch, I'm gonna dump this in here and you're gonna hear metal. And you can definitely hear it when you hit metal. He told me right, I think it was right before I turned the camera on, that he lost another tooth on his excavator over there, and it's in this pile here somewhere, so hopefully I don't find that till Monday. Joe's walking around doing something, checking things out, being a model employee. Joe gets bored. Never met anybody who couldn't stand sitting and watching and getting paid as much as Joe. See him over there? Oh, right over there. Looking. Smoking those cancer sticks. I'll talk about cheapskate too. Rolls his own cigarettes. That's what he tells me. He's old though. Old people smoke. If I ever monetize any videos, or if they'll get demonetized because I've got a delinquent on my videos smoking cigarettes. You know, the way he wears his clothes looks like a I don't know. You guys ever see like old commercials or old movies or anything from like the 50s? Pictures, guys from the 40s and 30s and stuff like that. That's what he looks like to me. Back when they were malnourished and skinny and small. That's Joe Phillips. I don't know if I should say his last name. Probably not. If anybody thinks they can find me by finding Joe too, don't be so sure. He's a bit of a floater. He up and went to California for like a year. Came back. Went back again. Was gone. I don't know. He got back. I didn't see him. dad's known him for a long time. Totally into conspiracy theories too. Well, not totally, I guess. I used to be. When I was like 18, 19, 17, 16. All of them. Just all the teens, I guess. I don't know why I gotta name each one of them. Used to be all about it. Like Mr. Ballin on YouTube. I liked watching his videos. But I also watched videos like Andrew Camarada, Let's Dig, They're Perfect, all those guys. And I was like, hey, I do that too. Or similar things. Obviously, I'm not doing dirt work here. I do on my side jobs. And I've done it before. I've worked for other people doing it. I've had other jobs, you know. I haven't worked in a mulch yard my whole life. But it was tempting. In wintertime, when I was sitting at home, not doing nothing but snow plowing, not making any money, to go and get a job working year round down here. And I like it. Got a great boss. Don't see him very much unless you screw up. And well, actually, you have to screw up pretty bad to see him. Most of my screw ups aren't that bad. I think, hope you guys can see those auxiliary hookups for the hydraulics. We've got a wood screw down here, so we can split up all these big honking logs. So go through the grinder. I don't know. Probably 6 years ago, at least. Yeah, probably 6 years ago. 5 maybe. I was running the wood screw down here, and it's got hydraulic lines on it, and they dangle down. Ripped one of them right off. Rooting around in the log pile. It's gonna be hilarious when I run that tooth through here, and I totally miss it, but it's like clear as day on camera. Okay, die was looking a little light for a second there. Yeah, we run a 2-inch pump here, or a 3-inch pump down at the lake, pumping water, and you know, it works fine till Joe goes doing something because he's bored and the pump runs out of gas. Keep talking about putting a 5-gallon gas can on it to replace a little tiny gas tank it's got, but you know, talk is cheap, huh? That's right. Talk is cheap. Who says that? He's looking around up there. If he doesn't start moving again in a second, we'll probably hear him on the radio talking to somebody. And my track right here is sinking in the fiber. So I'm feeding this thing all crooked. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. I mean, you set this up, you know? Kind of Yahoo. Doesn't make a nice pad to sit on. Where you're going to be sitting in the same spot for 4 or 5 hours running, hopefully. I mean, is this a amateur operation here? It was me. That's who did it. I did it. If I had dual personality disorder or multiple personality disorder or whatever that is, if that even exists, Mr. Matt Walsh says it might not even exist, and I'm inclined to believe him. But if I did, one would be Watson and one would be Moriarty. Not Holmes, because he's a drug-addled weirdo. Watson, what do you make of this? Well, Sherlock,